Hi everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel, Hallmark Plus More, where we watch and talk about shows, movies, mysteries, Hallmark ornaments, and anything else that floats our boat. So today I'm going to be reviewing a Hallmark Christmas movie called Sugarplummed. So, before I get into the review, I want to say thank you to everybody who subscribes and watches my videos. I appreciate each and every one of you, so thank you so much for doing that. So this movie was about the main character is Emily. She is a lawyer. Her husband Ben works in an architect firm, and then she has two kids, daughter Nina and son Max, who are older, like teenagers. I believe they're both in high school, and it's 1 week till Christmas. So it basically has a Mitchell family holiday checklist because her last name is Mitchell. So basically, she grew up with her mom raising her, and her mom had this list. And so every year at Christmas, she tries to fulfill it. Basically, it's her way of having a perfect Christmas. In order to have a perfect Christmas, you must do these 5 things on this family holiday checklist. So the 5 things are beautifully decorated house, plenty of family time, perfect gifts, a gorgeous tree, and one magical Christmas memory made as a family. So these are very specific things that in her mind would make a perfect Christmas for her family. So obviously, two teenage kids, a husband, yourself, very busy schedules. Her daughter wants to be a singer. She's applying for college as she applied to Berklee College of Music. And, her mom isn't really happy with that because she thinks singing isn't a solid career. So she wants her to go to a local college. So basically, her and her husband, Ben, have planned out her college life. So that's a little drama side story that you see throughout. Her son Max is a little shy. He makes these YouTube, TikTok, like dance videos. Very shy, doesn't share them. But that's just something I guess he does himself, him not thinking he's good enough, but he makes these like dance videos. And in the videos, he's very confident, but he's still shy and doesn't actually share the videos. So those are 2 little side stories, kind of drama that go with the children. And then you see her assistant named Jess. You only see her at the beginning of the movie. But because she leaves for the holiday season, because like I said, it's a week before Christmas and she's at this law firm. But you see Sugarplum is a character in holiday movies, and it's a collection. So it's like a series. Sugarplum Christmas, Sugarplum, marries a prince, and, basically, all of the Hallmark Christmas movies that you've seen over the years basically are in this Sugarplum collection. So you see me smiling, and that's kind of what I was doing when I was watching this movie. Because it's like, the lawyer, she's a fan of this Sugarplum series, which is Hallmark Christmas movies, basically just like one character doing them all. So it's kind of like, you always see a Christmas movie that has to do with royalty. She finds a prince or falls in love with a princess and they go to a ball, or you see somebody go home and get together with a high school sweetheart. So like Sugarplum has done this in a series and a collection, and she watches them and she thinks the Sugarplum character has like the perfect Christmas. And so it's interesting, and like I say, you smile because you're kind of like, yes, Sugarplum is like every Hallmark Christmas movie you've ever seen. So I really thought that was comical. So basically, she goes to her office to pick up a box of vintage ornaments. They fall, they break. She grabs a star. She sees a little inscription on the back of the star, to make a wish. And it'll come true. It says, if you make a wish and if it's a worthy wish, it will be granted. So she doesn't really believe in it, but she says it anyway. She's by herself in this law firm, and she's like, I wish for a Sugarplum Christmas, basically. and lights go off in the office, the firm, and then all of a sudden you see Sugar Plum, the character, pop up there, and you're like, wait, what? So basically, she dreamed this, and this character from the Sugar Plum series collection of movies shows up. And so she's a real person. She thought she was a ghost. She goes to leave, and the janitor was like, do you two want to go down in the elevator? And he was like, she says to the janitor, you see her? She's not a ghost. So it turns out, it's not a ghost. This is a real person. But she's Sugar Plum and she's from these movies. So it's almost kind of like those Disney movies where you see like the fairy tale person comes to real life, and she's trying to live in 2024. So it's really interesting because she has this book of rules that she pulls out of her purse. And all of the rules are like what happens in a Hallmark Christmas movie. So you see me kind of laughing right now as I'm making this video because I was laughing watching the movie. And, something would happen and Sugar Plum would be like, no, that's not supposed to happen because of Rule 51. And you're like, the rules are like, if you go to a small town, if a small town person comes home, they're going to fall in love with a high school sweetheart, or, all of the plots of these, Hallmark Christmas movies that we all love and kind of already know what's going to happen, but we can't help but watch it, right? So that was so funny to me because she's here staying with Emily, the main character. So she makes up a story to her family, like an old friend from college didn't have a place to stay, so she's staying with us. But the family can't help but notice she's a little odd, right? It's like she's odd because when something happens, she's so cheerful and kind of whimsical, kind of like Mary Poppins, like just, so positive, just radiating positivity. And something will go wrong, she'll be like, well, no, that's not right because rule always have a happy ending. And you're just like, so it's just funny because some of the rules are plots from Hallmark movies and you're not really making fun of Sugar Plum, but it's just, I don't know, it's just very comical to see because she has such a happy disposition and she's just so positive. It almost comes across as fake because she believes herself, but what she says like doesn't happen in 2024. And a lot of times Emily will say that throughout the movie, like that stuff doesn't happen in real life. So she's a lawyer and she's trying to settle this dispute between two people, which, by the way, is a cameo from other Hallmark actors and actresses. So I have to give a shout out. I love it when that happens. They're not the main characters, but you're like, oh, I know her. Oh, I recognize him. And they just have little one-liners or just little small cameo roles in the movie. So Hallmark, when you do that, we love it because we love to see other actors and actresses. But, the two clients can't agree. And she opens up her book. She's like, oh, no, this is classical rule, blah, 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 blah. She's arguing with the developer who wants to buy the land and it's a family-owned business. Well, she's going to fall in love with the developer and the developer's not going to buy the land and and it's just like so funny because there's a Hallmark movie. I mean, I can think of several off the top of my head, which I love, by the way, because I love how Hallmark does their movies. But it's just funny how she's like, no, they're going to make it work. And Emily's like, look, that's not the real world, But somehow this Christmas magic is happening, and Emily's just kind of shocked every time it happens, right? Because Sugar Plum is saying it like it's fact. And Emily's like, that's just a coincidence. Like, that doesn't really happen. So it's definitely interesting. She has a neighbor who's kind of a Grinch, so to speak. She's kind of rude. And you find out, her husband passed away and her kids don't visit, Deborah, the neighbor. So you kind of like, she's alone at Christmas, but she's kind of Scrooge and kind of rude. But she cuts down a Christmas tree in her yard, in Deborah's yard. And Sugar Plum doesn't think anything of it because she's like, that's a rule. You need a Christmas tree. I found one. Like, there's no consequences for what she does because she's in her own little fantasy world. But she can't tell anybody that. Like, nobody's going to believe she's out of a holiday collection, basically, Hallmark movies, basically. And nobody's going to believe her story except Emily. So it's just funny how she gets herself in this mess. At one point, she gets arrested. She goes to Max's school because Emily can't go to career day, which is definitely interesting because she has no career. She's Sugarplum from the Sugarplum collection holiday movies, so it's like, what is she going to say on career day? And she does a little bit of Christmas magic, so to speak, and she basically, it snows in the high school and they're having like a snowball fight in the lobby, so she gets in trouble for that. But she's got this Christmas magic kind of going on. And Emily is just shocked by it all. Like, how is this happening? This doesn't happen in real life. Like, I have two clients, that's a holiday movie. That's a Sugarplum movie. That's not going to happen. And it happens. They fall for each other, the developer and them. But then something happens along the way. Every movie has conflict and drama. And somehow, towards, about halfway through the movie, her magic starts basically fading, and everything that was going right went wrong. She made it snow in the school and gave Max the courage, and the girl that Max likes, was like throwing snowballs at him and kind of flirting and kind of was helping everybody, and then all of a sudden everything starts like going backwards. I mean, it was almost like blowing up in her face, kind of backlashing, and she gets arrested, and she's trying to tell the officer, like, this is who I am. Your name, you don't exist. Obviously, Emily made up a name, so when the cop arrested her, it doesn't exist. So then she tells the police officer, I'm Sugarplum from the Sugarplum holiday collection. Obviously, he thinks she's crazy. But Emily goes in, being a lawyer, she's able to kind of sweet talk the officer to put her in her custody. And so, you kind of want to go like, the magic stopped working. And then that's kind of when, Sugarplum and Emily basically have that, it's almost like a moral story to the end of the movie. Like, an imperfect Christmas is perfect. You know what I mean? They had a holiday photo from last year, and her son Max is looking at his phone, and the daughter's like giving a different look. The dad's looking off, and Emily's the only one smiling out of the four of them. And it's like, yes, that's a holiday picture you're going to remember. So when she says one of her 5 things is a magical Christmas memory made as a family, that's those imperfections, right? That we need to kind of take. It's like, take every day as it comes. Enjoy every moment, every holiday season, every Christmas. So she's kind of, I told you, one of the side stories is her kind of battling with her daughter about singing. And they have a Christmas pageant. And she's late for the pageant. So, I mean, that's definitely interesting. She kind of goes to the pageant at the last minute, and that's that Christmas memory as a family. So it's one of those morals to the story, an imperfect Christmas is a perfect Christmas. So she kind of learns that, and so does Sugarplum. So I feel like towards the end, Sugarplum basically was saying, hey, I'm here to check off all 5 things off your list, because she's imaginary person from a movie. So as soon as all 5 of those things have been completed, she disappears back into her, they call it her perfect time and perfection, is how they quote it in the movie, which basically means like, like any other fantasy Disney movie, you go back to where you came from. Like, she doesn't exist. She's in a holiday collection series of movies. So once she completes these 5 tasks, she goes back to her time and perfection. So she checks off each list. I mentioned earlier she cuts down a tree from the neighbor. So she goes through each item on the list. The last one is that magical Christmas memory made as a family. So she enters a contest for the best house. Like, that could be in a Sugarplum movie, and obviously she's Sugarplum, so she knows how to decorate the house, so she's one of the finalists. So Emily thinks this is that magical moment. We're one of the finalists for the Sugarplum. We're gonna win. We're all gonna be happy. That's our moment. But it turns out it's not their moment, because the family's like, look, you're not listening to us. You know what I mean? This is an important night for me. I want to be a singer. I'm singing in the Christmas pageant. You don't even care, and the son's like, that's the whole point. You don't care what we think. And then she has this blowout with her husband too, because her husband is under a strict deadline at work. Kind of pissed off his boss. His boss went through some family drama there and a loss. So he's kind of angry at Christmas and makes everybody work. So basically, all three members of her family have this kind of like heated discussion with her the night that she's supposed to be filmed for this finalist of the Sugarplum Christmas house decorating contest, where she was going to get her magical moment. So she basically apologizes to Sugarplum and is like, I know you want to leave. I become great friends with you, but I don't know what my magical moment now is. My whole family's mad at me. So she goes to this pageant to see her daughter, and they have a very touching kind of moment there. Her daughter gets nervous about singing, and the whole family comes together. They all work as a team and give her that confidence to go out and sing. And of course, she's amazing, right? She wants to be a singer. You hear her sing, and she's great. She's on the guitar. She's doing great. Everything kind of turns around at that point. Once they come together and she apologizes, she's like, look, Nina, I'm not trying to come down on you. I believe in you as a singer. We're just looking out for your future. We wanted you to have a foundation. We wanted you to get a degree. And she basically like is honest with her. Like, look, I don't want you to ever think I don't believe in you. You're my daughter. I love you. You can do anything. You're an amazing singer. So like, I feel like she entrusted that confidence in her daughter. Same thing with her son, Max. Her husband basically stood up to his boss and says, look, I'm not going to do this. My family comes first. If you don't start treating your employees and me better, I'm going to start my own firm, and your employees are going to come with me because you treat them like dirt and you make them work around the holidays. I wouldn't do that. So, I mean, he kind of has that standout moment with his boss. So I feel like everything kind of came together once she basically realized, hey, I lost it. And then her and Sugarplum together realize imperfect Christmas is what makes it Christmas. Christmas. Having that time with family, not making it perfect, just spending the time and understanding and communication. Because I feel like, she didn't realize her daughter didn't feel like her mom believed in her. And Emily didn't really know that because she didn't really talk to her kids about it. So, a perfect Christmas is imperfections. That picture that you take when everybody's looking around or when the kids are crying. The picture in front of Santa when you have the crying baby. I mean, every parent is pissed off that their kid is crying on Santa's lap, but at the same time, that's a rite of passage, right? Everybody has a picture of their kid crying on Santa's lap or sleeping. I love the pictures where they're waiting in line for so long, the baby's asleep, and then, they're like, that's Christmas, that's what makes it so great. One of my favorite, or a lot of my favorite memories with my son and my family is when we're doing something silly, when we're playing a board game or we're singing songs or dancing, just doing something that's, silly, and it's memories that you're making. And I love that moral of the story. Even Sugarplum was like, I don't want to go back to perfection now because I've seen that imperfection is great too. That is the perfect Christmas gift. But in the end, she does go back. And at the end, after the concert, they all get in their sweaters and they sit down to watch a Sugarplum movie, and they're like, hey, she kind of looks familiar. And then the movie ends. So definitely a great way to end the movie. I really loved the concept. Like I said, you saw me kind of smiling towards as I was doing the review, because the rule book cracked me up, because almost every single rule she read off has been a plot for a Hallmark movie. So it's almost like Hallmark made this movie and, they're not laughing at themselves, they're laughing with them. Like, hey, we're Hallmark. We know we make these movies, but you love them. You pay to watch them. They're successful. So we're going to kind of not necessarily make fun of ourselves, but make it comical in a movie. And that's one of the things that I like. They always say, you have to be able to laugh at yourself. Don't be laughed at, laugh with them. So I liked that. That was what's so funny to me throughout the whole movie. And the actress who played Sugar Plum, wonderful. She was so whimsical. She was so enchanting and so like right out of a fairy tale, which is what those Sugar Plum movie collections was in this movie, and so she played it to the T, and I thought she was phenomenal, the actress that played Sugar Plum. And of course the main actor, Emily, was Maggie Lawson, and I love her. She's great in Hallmark movies as well. But the highlight actress for me in this movie was Sugar Plum, because very believable. I believed her. When I do a rating, I do my gen rating and I do my review. That's one of my points. What I loved about it, what I didn't like, what I didn't love. Was it believable? Did I believe the characters? Not that it was realistic, because obviously this movie is not realistic whatsoever, because it's a fantasy person from a movie coming out of the movie and helping her in real life. So obviously it's not realistic, but was it believable? And I totally believed that she was Sugar Plum. She played the character so well. Great acting, wonderful actress, great job, Hallmark. She was great. And then the feels, how I felt about the movie, my overall feel of it. I loved the overall feel of this movie. Like I said, you're hearing me kind of chuckle because I just loved how they portrayed it. The lady that was Sugar Plum, she did a great job. It was great feels for me. Like I just was smiling and happy and positive throughout. And I love movies that have kind of like fables that have that moral aspect. You see the Charlie Brown characters behind me, Linus. When you press him, he talks. He gives you that speech from the Charlie Brown Christmas about what Christmas is really all about. So I love stories like that, where you basically say it's okay to not be okay. Christmas isn't supposed to be perfect. It's the imperfections that make it wonderful. We're all different. We're all unique. That's what makes everybody stand out, that they're different. We have to rejoice and unite in our differences and not let that divide us. So I loved that about this movie. There's very little that I disliked. I mean, I can't really think of a single thing. I thought everything was great. All of the actors are great. I liked the way they tied it in. They tied in his boss being at the Christmas pageant because one of his family members was there performing too. So you kind of had that tie-in. And then at the end, you had the grumpy old boss go to his house and basically say, like, you're right, and meet up with the neighbor, and they knew each other. So I loved how everything tied in. So for this movie, Hallmark, well done. You are getting a full review from me. So for this movie, for my gen rating, I am definitely rating it 5 gold crowns. You got 5 gold crowns from me, Hallmark. You kind of, with the rules and the way they portrayed Sugar Plum, I don't want to say you're making fun of yourself, because I don't believe that. I don't. But it was very comical, and I really loved how they did that. So definitely for this specific movie, Sugarplummed, my gen rating is 5 gold crowns. So definitely well done. Just loved how everything was put together. I hope you liked my review. If you haven't seen the movie, definitely watch it. You will be smiling and giggling throughout the movie if you were a Hallmark Channel fan, because you will kind of pick up on the same things that I did, and I just think it was a very good movie. And no Die Hard references. So always a plus, Hallmark. Keep those out. So yes, I definitely give the 5 gold crowns. So I hope you enjoyed my review, and until next time, bye.